Hello, my name is Kai, and I am a bit of a rambler. I like to travel, learn, and tell stories. And one of the things I like to tell a lot of people about is how to speak Mandarin, because it seems very difficult, but it is not. There is a simple form to the tones of Mandarin, and Cantonese has 6 tones or 9 tones, depending on how you look at it. Thai has 5 tones, and for me is much more difficult than Mandarin Chinese. Mandarin Chinese has 4 tones and a neutral tone. So I suggest you drop the neutral tone learning because it sounds like anything. It just, whatever. However you want to pronounce it is fine. Because what people will be listening for are the 4 tones, the flat, rising, falling, then rising, and falling tone. I know that grouping of descriptions is complicated and sounds irritating to remember, but there are tone analogs in English speech, and you can use those to the same pronunciation instead. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are going to be robot, question, unsure, angry, which will be explained in just a couple minutes here. Just like with spelling in English, if you said foam or home or loam or chrome, the beginning phoneme of those words all make it a different word, even though the part is the same in all of those words. China has the same thing. Ah are different words. Even though the base phoneme is ah, the tone makes it a different word each time. This type of semantic structure may seem surprising or even counterintuitive if you haven't heard of it before or studied it before. But it isn't that different from how English speakers speak. We just have very limited tone uses. Yes means yes. Yes means, is that correct? You can probably think of 100 examples like that where just changing the tone of your voice makes it very clear you're saying a different type of sentence than the words you're using. Do you want to go to Matt's party? Sure. Do you want to go to Matt's party? Sure. In that example, sure is the 4th tone falling the first time and the 3rd tone falling then rising the second time. And with sure, yes, you want to go to Matt's party. With sure, the person you're talking to is immediately wondering why doesn't he want to go to Matt's party. So we have tones in English, we use them naturally and very commonly, but they're contextual and not really part of the formalized English speaking system. You've used tones before, you'll just further expand that tonal skill for the Mandarin tones. With the recognition that you use tones in everyday speech, we can familiarize ourselves with and demystify the Mandarin tones. I really think the key here is to understand the tones not as a new textbook spreadsheet you have to study and whatever, but just to relate them to something you already know with your use of tones in colloquial English. So, neutral tone, ah. It's ah. There's nothing special about it. So we're going to go to the 4 tones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, flat, rising, falling then rising, falling. Now I could probably tell you that like 10 times, and you would not retain it because it's a very boring and unhelpful description of how those tones work. It was told to me dozens of times, and it never made intuitive sense to me. Until I came up with this alternative tonal system, which is intuitive to native English speakers, at least myself and every native English speaker I have taught it to. And without fail, every person I met in China who tried to learn Mandarin eventually at some point asked me, how the heck do the tones work? How long are you supposed to say the rising tone? How long does each word last? And several other questions about the intuitive nature of tones that all Chinese people seem to share that you don't really need to worry about as long as you can make the tones accurately. Once you can make the tones accurately, it doesn't matter how long or short the word is or whatever other thing you're thinking about. You just have to recreate the tones accurately, which, with robot, question, unsure, angry, you can do, intuitively, with tones you already know. Unfortunately, nearly every single textbook you read and language class you attend with Mandarin is going to describe them as flat, rising, falling then rising, falling. So rather than using those descriptors, let's go over the For tones, you already know as an English speaker that you can connect to these 4 Mandarin tones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, 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 ah. Can you say all 4 tones? It's kind of difficult. The first tone is robot. Ah, I'm a robot. I am a robot. Ah. Talking like a robot is the first tone. The second tone is a question. Ah? What? No? How? Ah? That's the second tone. Now the third is unsure. Ah. You're falling down and then rising back up. Sure. I guess. Ah. That's 3. You're unsure. So, robot. Ah. Question. Ah. Unsure. Ah. And angry, the fourth tone. Ah. The falling. Starts high, ends lower. Hey. Go. No. That natural, short, angry exhalation where you drop your pitch on the angry word is the fourth tone in Mandarin. Ah. Robot. Question. Unsure. Angry. Ah. 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 If someone explains to you, no, horse is ma, the third tone. You just have to think unsure. So, unsure, ma, down, up, or ma is the second tone. Question. Question. Huh? Ma. Ma? Oh no, ma is flat. Robot. Ma. Ma. Oh, it's angry. Ma. Fourth. Now that doesn't mean you're going to know every word right out of the gate, but now, as soon as you know the tone of a word, you can speak that word. Chinese speakers will understand you using that word, and your brain will log it when you speak it, and if you can speak it consistently, which is much easier with a native tonal context in mind, then that word is going to become part of your lexicon. Noodles is angry, the fourth tone. Mian. The word is mian, but that's neutral. So you have to use the fourth tone. Angry. Mian. Mian. However loud or quiet you say, it doesn't really matter. Although I think the reason Chinese people shout at each other when they speak is because it's kind of difficult to tell the tones unless you're listening to someone say them pretty loudly. But if you use that fourth tone, mian, then people will understand you. Then you're saying that word correctly. And once you know that word, mian, you can do different types of mian. 西红柿鸡蛋面 or 担担面, 牛肉面. If you can lock one word in, you can start building other words off of it. School, 学校. Question, angry. 学, angry. 校, 学校. Question, angry. Rising, falling. 学校. And those are the 4 tones in all of Mandarin. So if you know the tone and you know what the phoneme is, you can pronounce it correctly, Chinese speakers will understand you, and that word will become a part of your vocabulary, especially with repeated usage. If you can't pronounce the tone intuitively, consistently, accurately, it makes it more difficult for your brain to register or log that word. Because it does mean something else if you're using a different tone when speaking Mandarin. But robot, question, unsure, angry, you can do that. A lot of teachers I hired had never spoken any Mandarin before. Actually, I don't think any of them had spoken any Mandarin. And some of them weren't very interested in studying it because it seems so difficult. But if you know how to pronounce all the words, it isn't that difficult. And the more good Chinese food you eat and the more good Chinese friends you make, you want to be able to speak at least a few of the words. So whenever a native English speaker asked me how to pronounce Mandarin, I always gave them that rubric to start off on. Because the questions were always, well, okay, but if number 2 is right next to number 3 and like all this kind of stuff, and there are rules that mess with which tone is spoken in which order, but you don't really have to worry about that. By the point you have to worry about that, you're already speaking Mandarin well enough that everyone can understand you. And just like other languages, I think even more so, Mandarin is highly contextual. So, 你好, rising unsure, that's 2-3, but 你 is actually 3, the third tone. It goes up to 2 because there's a third tone after a third tone, in which case the first third tone becomes the second tone. Now, I know that sounds like gibberish, and it's fine because you don't have to remember it. Because if you say 你好 correctly to someone or 你好, they're going to understand you both ways because they know that 你好 means you're saying hello to them. And you're going to learn phrases which have those correct grammar tones built into them. 现在我不要. Right now, I don't want. And you don't have to worry because everyone knows what that means. 现在我不要面. 现在我不要去. Right now, I don't want noodles. Right now, I don't want to go to the blah. As you learn the phrases, you're going to learn the tones correctly for those phrases. So when you're saying a sentence, I wouldn't worry so much about making sure every single grammar tone corresponds exactly correctly to every other grammar tone, unless you enjoy studying that stuff or for whatever reason that helps you more to know that pattern correctly in the beginning. Over and over, what I've seen is it's much easier for people to get a grasp of Mandarin and Chinese languages in general by making familiar the unfamiliar. So I really think that if you are having trouble saying your first words of Mandarin, or you're in China right now and you're like, okay, I get it, yisheng, arsheng, the different tones, but like how the heck do you remember them? If you can make the word familiar to your mouth making that sound, then you will remember them. 学生, student. 学生, 学, study. 生, 学生. Now, my Mandarin is far from perfect. I was pretty good at it in my heyday, and now I can stumble through a conversation with a Mandarin speaker. But knowing these 4 tones as familiar tones, as normal context-rich sounds that my brain intuitively understands from English, made them instantly recognizable words and easy to record in my brain. And other people seemed to have the same result when they changed 1, 2, 3, 4, rising, flat, falling, blah, blah, into robot, question, unsure, angry. If you know the process by which you make these words, by which you pronounce these words, then you know the words. And importantly, other people will understand you. When I started using robot, question, unsure, angry, people started understanding the words I was saying. When I was trying to do the third tone as falling then rising, I never got it correct. But when I realized it was the same as sure, then I realized that ma means horse. And other people understood my as well. Up until that point, I was trying to figure out the timing and like how long each half of a word should be, and it was just this nightmare. But there are corresponding sounds that native English speakers use. We can go get pizza. Yeah. Unsure. So when you're studying vocabulary and you see one of those tonal marks telling you which one to go for, 1, 2, 3, 4, you have it. Like, don't get confused by any of those lines above the letters anymore. If you see the lines, that means you know how to say this. P-I. P. 1, 2, 3, 4. P. 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 Robot, question, unsure, angry. Now, question is important here because PGO, question, unsure, PGO is beer. And we all have to learn the word for beer. Thank you for listening. I hope this all makes the Mandarin tones make a little more sense. If you have any questions, shoot them over to bitofarambler@gmail.com. Have a Chinese beer or two, and I will catch you on the flip-flop. Well, let's send you off with a few famous Chinese beers. There's Qingdao from Qingdao. There's Xuehua, which I got real into. There's the original, Yanjing beer, Yanjing Pijiu, and Harbin Pijiu. So if you find Qingdao, Xuehua, Yanjing, or Harbin, have a couple pulls. They are types of beer.